Hello everyone, my name is Reed and welcome to Storytime. Today we're going to be reading some I Don't Work Here Lady stories, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Asda employs checkout staff that are small children. 15 years ago, my little girl was a 5-year-old rainbow. For you Americans, Daisy Scouts. The leader arranged a trip to see behind the scenes at Asda, our local supermarket, where they got to see all the different areas where things got made. I was along for the trip as I was the local guide leader and one of the rainbow leaders couldn't make the trip. Everything is going well with 3 adults herding 15 rainbows dressed in blue tabards around the shop while they were all excited. The end of the trip was a go at the tills, long before self-service checkouts. So a few random items were put onto the conveyor belt and a herd of excited girls were allowed to turn it on and off, and then, with a sign on the checkout saying closed and the one we used being at the end of the store, only used when it's Christmas. I was doing my part of the shopper, aka returning scan bits to the conveyor belt so the next girl could scan them, while the leader lifted them one at a time to sit on the checkout so they could scan the items. There was no way that this looked at all normal. I then hear a huffing while I take a photo of my own daughter doing it. I turn to see a lady tapping her foot at me with her stuff on the conveyor belt at the other end. I say this till is closed, politely, then look pointedly at my daughter, giving the lady a confused look. "You're checking out," was her reply, and while I looked shocked and amazed at her, the rainbow leader recovery was better than mine, spoke to her with a perfect customer service voice. The rainbows were learning about how tills work as part of their jigsaw badge. Currently, Asda does not employ 5-year-olds to man the tills. The woman storms off without her shopping and, I understand, made a complaint to customer services the next day about how rude we'd been. Strange that she gave her report to the rainbow leader without realizing. I still have a photo somewhere if needed. Yeah, I would have told her to go to an empty lane and said, yeah, put your stuff out and we'll ring you up. And then once she laid all of her stuff out, we would have left. The envelope and the elliptical. I think I have whatever you call the opposite of RBF. I am pretty often mistaken for working at different places, and I usually will help the person out, but kindly let them know I'm not an employee. I thought my most ridiculous instance was when I was wearing my uniform for my job, I think somewhere between teacher and park ranger with logos, and I was asked 3 times for help at Lowe's. My apartment complex has a gym that rarely has more than 1 person in it. It's pretty small, only 2 of every basic machine, and it's through a side entrance to the leasing office. I'm on the elliptical wrapping up my 45-minute cardio workout, working down my heart rate. I'm listening to a pretty hilarious musical at half volume. A lady in her 50s shows up in the doorway, giving me that familiar, "Feel my wrath" stare. She taps her foot and says, "Excuse me." I pulled an earbud out and say, "Hi? Where do I put this envelope?" "I don't really know what you mean. The office is around the corner." "I want you to help me." I'm still going on the elliptical. I think there's staff over there to help. Lady leaves and I text my friend how hilariously a woman interrupted my workout to demand my help. Not even a minute later, the woman comes back, this time walking directly up to the elliptical. "I don't know what you're doing, but I need you to take this envelope. You're being quite rude." "I don't work here." "I don't care if you work here, you should always offer to help those older than you, and I know you're just on your lunch break, but you still work here. This is my car information and rent." I put my earbud back in and sped back up despite being cooldown time. She huffed and walked out, shutting the lights and fan off, and leaving me reeling, wondering what the heck just happened. Yeah, that would have sucked if I took your car information and rent from you. Maybe you should be smarter about who you hand those out to. Come on, lady. "No, sir, I'm not qualified to empty your urine." Backstory. I'm 16, I have ADHD, so I really don't like to be bored, so to keep my life as busy as possible, I was looking around almost a year ago and applied to a volunteer role at the local hospital. I volunteer in a post-surgery section for mostly patients who have surgery on their digestive system, but also for overflow patients who don't have space anywhere else. I've been in this section around 5 months now, so I'm friends with a lot of the nurses and techs. I only volunteer once a week, so I usually don't see a patient more than once. The jobs that I do are mostly secretary jobs, file information, answer phone calls, that sort of thing. But I also answer the patient call lights and sometimes bring them items like a sandwich or a water refill, But I'm not allowed to do anything that includes contact with the patient or any bodily fluids because I could get infected with something, so those things I ask the techs and nurses to do. Sometimes I'll ask them to do something and they'll trade me for a task they need to do that I can do, such as getting water. On to the story. I had just answered a call light that a patient needed to use the restroom, so I got up and asked the tech assigned to that room to help the patient. She asked me to get some water for another patient, so I did that. I came into his room and filled his water cup, and he asked me to empty his urinal for him, which is a jug that he, urinates in? I can't do that because of the whole bodily fluid thing, so I told him I'm not allowed to do that, but I would ask the tech. I immediately went to find her and let her know that he needed that whenever she had time. His urinal wasn't full, it had less than an inch of urine in it, so it wasn't an emergency, and the techs usually have like 10 rooms at a time. Then I sat back down at my desk, which happens to be across from his room, so he could see me because he had the door open. I went back to my computer things when I heard him say, "So are you going to empty my urinal or not?" with an attitude. I again told him that I actually couldn't, but his tech would be there shortly. She shows up about a minute later and comes out and talks to me afterward because she knows me. She tells me that he told her to report me to HR because I wasn't doing my job. She explained to him that I really wasn't qualified, that I was a student, and he finally understood. This could be an easy misunderstanding if I had the same attire, but all the techs and nurses wear blue scrubs, different shades for techs versus nurses, and I wear a red polo that clearly says Junior Volunteer with khaki pants and a belt. Yes, I'm Jake from State Farm. But not Jake from Storytime, I'm Reed. So it's ridiculous that he wanted me fired, but I mean, he can go ahead to HR all he wants. I'll be so sad that I lost my pay of $0. How will I ever support my family now? Wait. It gets better. After having an attitude with me and trying to get me fired from my volunteer job, when he finds out I can't do what he was asking, but I am very helpful with everything else, he starts being nice to me when I bring him things. He even said, "You're very helpful," when I brought him a sandwich. It's nice that he was nice to me and appreciated what I was doing, but he shouldn't have been so quick to judge and try to have me legit fired. It was such a two-faced move. Reminds me of those mean high school girls acting like your friend when they want something from you. I want to take a second to shout out OP for being an awesome person and volunteering. Plus, that's gonna look awesome on your resume. Karen, I don't work here. Now stop being racist and screw off. A little backstory. I'm a Vietnamese American. I was born in the US, but I have Vietnamese origins. I went to visit the city in Vietnam where my mom grew up, Da Nang. For those of you who don't know, Da Nang is a beautiful city with skyscrapers and a beautiful community. The houses are well built and it's very advanced. It's considered by some as Vietnam's pride, or at least that's what I call it anyway. However, one thing you shouldn't underestimate is the Da Nang police. The DN police is a very strict police department with great leadership and skill. These men and women in the DN police department are trained for lots of things, ranging from small minor stuff to emergencies. One thing you should note, DN police will not take crap from anybody. This Karen didn't know that. I was at this super huge market. This market is basically like a mall space full of clothing, shoes, accessories, food, everything you ever needed. I was helping an elderly woman shop for some stuff, and at the end, I feel a tug on my jacket and I'm pulled back. I turn around to see a white woman in her 40s in front of me. She's around 230 pounds and looked like she smoked a pack of cigarettes for like 2 years straight before quitting. It also looked like she didn't shower much because her hygiene on her clothes and overall breath didn't settle too well on me. Hygiene did not give this woman any good looks at all. Her face drooped and I just stopped studying her after that. Too much to see. Karen, finally, I've been waiting for you forever. I saw her walk in the aisle about 5 minutes ago. Can I help you? Yes, could you tell me where the shoes are? Me and my son need some new shoes now. Yeah, they're over. No, you were going to get me my shoes. I'm not walking there, it's too far. Get them for me now. No, who the heck do you think you are for pulling me back and then telling me to get shoes for you, but you haven't even told me what size or design you want, and regardless, I'm not going to do that for you. The Karen looked shocked and turned red. Oh, how dare anyone talk back to me? You bleep? Who the bleep do you think you are? How dare you talk back to me? The customer is always right. I want to speak to your bleeping manager. Does this place even have a manager? Shut the heck up. Why are you creating a scene? What? How could an employee like you talk to me like that? It clicked in my head that she thought I was an employee. I just burst out laughing. What? Are you laughing? What for? I got an idea. I'll play along. Yes, I work here, but heck no am I servicing white trash like you. The Karen went full berserk mode. She pushed me against the shelf and a few things fell on me. She then stomped away. The end. Just kidding. I thought it was the end. It certainly wasn't. She comes with the person in charge of the market. Me and the manager exchange greetings in Vietnamese, and the manager turns to the woman and the conversation ensues. He no work here. He customer. He does work here. He said it him freaking self. Please no yell. Yell no okay. You were just covering for him. You bleep. Chinks are the bleeping worse. I'm shocked, but the manager seems unfazed. She doesn't seem to understand what that meant. I tell her in Vietnamese what it meant, and she got taken aback and looked horrified. The bleep are you saying in Chinese? You should have the balls to tell me. Sure, and it's Vietnamese, not Chinese. I was basically translating to her in Vietnamese what you just said to us. She didn't understand in English. You sly bleep, that's not what you said. Yes, it was. The Karen punched the manager in the face. The manager got knocked out and she attempted to hit me. I kicked her in the side of her leg and elbowed her back. I took out my phone and dialed 113. Within minutes, 4 police cars surrounded the front entrance of the market outside. Officers in black uniforms and tactical vests and helmets, and regular officers in green uniforms surrounded the aisles from both ways. They asked me to step away. I stepped away and the officers attempted to arrest her. And by attempted, I mean attempted. The giant elephant kicked the officers in the legs and tries to run away. Bad idea. The officers pull her back and surround her. One of them takes a baton and hits her in the side of the leg. The other officers kick her in the back of the leg and make the arrest. She was literally carried out of the market, handcuffed into a car. Some paramedics come inside to come help the manager. I decided I was done with shopping and just paid and left to go to the hotel room. I would have definitely loved to have been there for this story. This is a pretty wild one. I was a rep for a Mattel. This sub was my whole life. I drove around to Target, Walmart, and Toys R Us stores and set up displays and whatever for Mattel. So I spent most of my day walking around big box stores dressed business casual. The number of people who mistook me for a manager in a day was absurd. I started to keep different color polos and button-downs in my car so I could change between stores so I'd never be dressed the same as the manager. Sometimes I could help people if they had questions about Mattel projects or even other toys, but I had a woman scream at me because I didn't know where the produce section was in a Walmart I visited twice a month for work, 2 towns over. Yeah, you can always wear a coroner's uniform, then I'm sure they would never bother you at all. Alright everyone, that's the last story of the day. If you liked what you heard, subscribe for more content like this daily. Alright, have an amazing day. Goodbye.